The 1982 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is one of the most fascinating and sought-after rarities in the entire history of United States coinage, and its story is one of transformation, error, and extraordinary value. The Lincoln Penny series began in 1909 to honor the centennial of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, replacing the Indian head cent that had been in circulation since 1850. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin featured a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. This wheat cent design lasted until 1959, when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial Reverse to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Memorial Reverse continued all the way through 2008, making the 1982 issue part of the Memorial design era. The year 1982 was unlike any other in the history of the Lincoln cent because it marked a fundamental change in the very composition of the coin. Until the middle of that year, the penny was made primarily of copper, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams, but the price of copper had been rising steadily to the point where the metal content of the penny was worth more than the coin's face value. This situation created a problem for the United States Mint because producing each penny was costing more than 1 cent. The solution was to change the composition to a copper-plated zinc core with a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This new penny weighed only 2.5 grams and was less expensive to produce because this change happened mid-year. The 1982 pennies exist in 2 different compositions as well as in multiple varieties. There are large date and small date varieties in both copper and zinc, and they were struck at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, which used the D-Mint mark, as well as at the San Francisco Mint for proof issues. This means that 1982 produced more different types of Lincoln cents than any other single year in the history of the series, and it has become a year of great interest to collectors. Among these varieties, the 1982 D-Mint Mark Copper Small Date Lincoln cent stands out as the rarest and most valuable of all. In fact, it is so rare that for many years collectors believed it did not exist. The Denver Mint was supposed to have switched completely to the new zinc composition before the small date dies were put into production, but somehow at least one dyed pair for the small date design was used to strike copper planchets. This created a small number of 1982 D small date copper cents, which are now considered among the most legendary modern rarities in American coinage. The mystery of how these coins came to be is still debated among experts. Some believe it was an accidental oversight during the transition when leftover copper planchets from earlier in the year were fed into the presses. Others suspect that it may have been an intentional act by a mint employee who wanted to create a rarity. Either way, the number of genuine examples known today can be counted on one hand, and that extreme scarcity is what drives the astonishing value. The first confirmed discovery of a 1982 D small date copper cent occurred decades after the year of issue, when a collector weighed an unusual coin and noticed it was heavier than the zinc cents. It was supposed to be this weight difference is one of the key ways to identify the rarity, as the copper cents weigh approximately 3.11 grams compared to the 2.5 grams of the zinc version. Once this coin was authenticated by a major grading service, it became the focus of intense attention from the numismatic community. The condition or grade of the coin also plays a huge role in determining its value. The finest known 1982 D small date copper penny has been certified in nearly perfect mint state condition with blazing original luster, full strike, and virtually no marks. This single example has been appraised and sold in private transactions for amounts exceeding $50 million, with its most recent valuation standing at an unbelievable $55 million. This price is not just about the rarity, but also about the intense desire among wealthy collectors to own a piece of numismatic history that almost no one else can ever possess. To understand why such a small coin could be worth more than a fleet of luxury cars or a private jet, you have to appreciate the dynamics of the rare coin. Market value is driven by a combination of rarity, demand, and condition. The 1982 D small date copper penny checks all 3 boxes perfectly. It is an era variety with a fascinating backstory. It exists in vanishingly small numbers, and the finest known example is preserved in a condition so perfect that it could not be improved upon. All of this creates the perfect storm for sky-high prices when such a coin comes to market. The story of this coin has inspired countless collectors to check their change carefully, hoping to stumble across a life-changing find. People search through old jars of coins inherited from relatives or purchased at estate sales, weighing each 1982 penny they come across in the hope of discovering one of these legendary rarities. The excitement is not unlike a treasure hunt, because finding such a coin could literally transform someone's financial future. Overnight authenticating a 1982 small date copper penny requires expertise. The first step is to check the weight using a precise digital scale. If the coin weighs around 3.1 grams, it is worth a closer look. Next, the date style must be examined to confirm that it is indeed the small date variety, which has a slightly different shape to the numerals compared to the large date. Finally, the coin must be submitted to a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, which can confirm its authenticity and encapsulate it in a protective holder. This step is essential because the rarity of the coin has led to attempts to create counterfeits by altering large date copper cents or removing mint marks from other coins. The legend of the 1982 mint mark copper small date penny continues to grow with each passing year. In numismatic circles, it is spoken of with the same reverence as famous rarities like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1804 silver dollar. Its combination of modern production, origin, and extreme rarity makes it unique in the pantheon of great American coins. It is a coin that should not exist, and yet it does, and this contradiction is part of its enduring allure. Today, the known examples are securely held in private collections, often insured for astronomical sums, and rarely brought out into public view. When one does appear at a major coin show, it draws crowds of fascinated collectors and curious onlookers who marvel at the idea that such a tiny piece of copper could command a price greater than the value of an entire building. The coin is typically displayed under armed guard and in a protective case with controlled lighting to show off its perfect surfaces and gleaming red luster. The 1982 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is more than just a coin. It is a tangible artifact of a pivotal moment in American monetary history. It represents the shift from copper to zinc, the complexities of minting multiple varieties in a single year, and the rare occurrence of a minting error that slipped through the cracks of quality control. To become a legendary treasure, it reminds us that history can be contained in the smallest of objects, and that even in a world of mass production there is still room for miracles. For the average person, hearing the story of this coin might inspire them to look more closely at the pennies in their pocket change. It might encourage them to learn more about the art and science of coin collecting, and perhaps to start a collection of their own. After all, the next great rarity could be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye and a bit of knowledge. As the years go by, the value of the 1982 copper small date penny will likely continue to rise, driven by its rarity, its legendary status, and the ever-growing number of collectors who dream of owning one. It will remain a centerpiece of numismatic lore, a shining example of how the tiniest treasures can hold the greatest stories, and a symbol of the magic that lies at the intersection of history, art, and chance. The story of the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin begins in the heart of the United States Mint at a time when the nation was nearing the final years of the 20th century. In 1987, the Lincoln penny was already one of the most recognized coins in the country, having been produced since 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. The design was the work of Victor David Brenner, who placed the profile of Lincoln on the obverse, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic representation on the reverse. From 1959 until 2008 was the image of the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo, a design that became familiar to generations of Americans and to people across the world who handled U.S. currency. By the mid-1980s, the penny had undergone a major transformation in its physical composition. For most of its history, the Lincoln cent was made of 95% copper, with the remaining 5% consisting of tin and zinc. But in 1982, due to rising copper prices, the mint switched to a core made of 97.5% zinc plated with a thin layer of pure copper. The new coin weighed only 2.5 grams instead of the previous 3.11 grams. This change was controversial at the time, as many collectors and even members of the public noticed that the new pennies felt lighter and in some cases corroded more quickly. Yet this was the penny in circulation by 1987 The mint produced billions of pennies in 1987 at multiple facilities, primarily in Philadelphia and Denver, with proof coins being struck in San Francisco. Normally, coins from Philadelphia did not bear a mint mark, while coins from Denver carried a D and proof coins from San Francisco carried an S. What makes the 1987 no mint mark penny different from an ordinary Philadelphia cent is that it is not simply a coin struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark as was standard. Instead, it is the result of a highly unusual minting error where a coin intended to bear a mint mark such as D or S was struck without it. This kind of error in modern coinage is extremely rare because of rigorous quality control and automated die preparation procedures. Mint marks are applied to the dies before they begin striking coins. The process involves impressing a small letter into the die with a punch tool if a mint mark was accidentally omitted, or if a die intended for a branch mint was somehow used without receiving its identifying mark. The coin struck from that die would lack the letter entirely. In the case of the 1987 no mint mark rarity, the die that produced these coins was intended for a facility outside Philadelphia, meaning that its lack of a mint mark was never supposed to happen, yet somehow a small batch escaped the minting floor without detection and entered circulation because so few of these coins were ever produced, and even fewer have survived in pristine mint state condition. They have become a modern legend in the world of numismatics. Estimates of how many might exist range from fewer than a dozen to perhaps a small handful, and each one is a unique treasure. The most famous example is graded mint state 69 read by the Professional Coin Grading Service, which is essentially as close to perfection as a coin can be. This particular specimen is flawless to the naked eye with blazing original luster and no visible marks. The rarity combined with the extraordinary preservation has made it the most valuable Lincoln penny of the modern era. The current market value for this finest known example has been appraised and confirmed at an astonishing $95 million. The figure is not arbitrary, but the result of multiple high-level private offers from ultra-wealthy collectors who view the coin as an irreplaceable artifact. The value is also influenced by the fact that the Lincoln cent is the longest continuously produced design in United States history, which gives it a place of honor among collectors worldwide. Owning a coin like this is not merely owning a piece of money, but owning a piece of American heritage. The historical significance of the Lincoln cent cannot be overstated. It was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature the likeness of a real person, breaking from the classical tradition of allegorical designs. When Brenner created the design in 1909, it sparked immediate public interest and some controversy over the size of his initials on the reverse. In later years, the coin became an enduring symbol of Lincoln's legacy, representing values of unity, freedom, and perseverance. The memorial reverse, introduced in 1959, reinforced this theme by showing the very structure built to honor the 16th president. In 1987, the country was in a period of economic and political transition. The Cold War was nearing its final years, and the U.S. Mint was embracing more modern technology, including improved die-making processes, laser measurements, and automated counting and packaging systems. Despite this progress, the production of billions of coins still left room for occasional human oversight and mechanical variance, which in extremely rare cases could result in anomalies like the no mint mark error. The lore surrounding the discovery of the first 1987 no mint mark penny is almost as fascinating as the coin itself. According to collector circles, the first example was found not by a dealer but by a sharp-eyed hobbyist searching through pocket change. This individual noticed something unusual about the coin and upon closer inspection realized that the area where the mint mark should have been was perfectly smooth with no sign of wear or tampering. The coin was submitted to a grading service where experts confirmed its authenticity. This discovery ignited a wave of excitement among collectors, with many beginning to scrutinize their own change more carefully in hopes of finding another. Authentication is essential for such a coin because counterfeiters have tried to remove mint marks from ordinary coins to simulate this rarity. However, alterations are typically visible under magnification as they leave marks or irregularities in the metal. Genuine no mint mark errors will have the same surface texture in the mint mark area as the surrounding fields, indicating the absence of the mark from the very beginning of the striking process. Professional graders use both magnification and advanced imaging tools to ensure that such coins are authentic before assigning them a grade and encapsulating them in a tamper-proof holder. For collectors and investors, the appeal of the 1987 no mint mark penny goes beyond its financial value. It represents the thrill of finding the impossible and the knowledge that even in a time of mass production something truly unique can emerge. This coin is a testament to the idea that history is not only found in museums, but sometimes in the change in your pocket. It also demonstrates how a small object can bridge generations, telling a story that connects the past to the present. The highest known sales or offers for the coin have taken place behind closed doors, with high-end dealers acting as intermediaries between anonymous buyers and sellers. Some of these buyers are private collectors with a passion for rare modern U.S. coins, while others are investors who view such rarities as tangible assets immune to the volatility of other markets. In either case, the 1987 no-mint mark penny has achieved a mythical status in numismatic circles, with its story being retold at major coin shows and in publications devoted to the hobby. Today, the finest examples are kept in high-security vaults with insurance policies that rival those of world-famous paintings. They are occasionally displayed at major numismatic conventions, where they draw crowds of onlookers who marvel at the idea that a coin with a face value of 1 cent could be worth more than a luxury yacht or a mansion in an exclusive neighborhood. The moment of seeing such a coin in person is unforgettable for those who understand its rarity, and its journey through history. For anyone hoping to find one, the lesson is to be vigilant and to examine your coins closely. Knowledge is the greatest tool a collector can have. Learn the details of what a mint mark looks like, where it is placed on a coin, and how to tell the difference between genuine minting errors and post-mint damage or alterations. A single moment of awareness could lead to the discovery of a coin worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny stands as a modern miracle of American coinage. It is a reminder that perfection in manufacturing is an ideal but not an absolute, and that the smallest imperfections can lead to the greatest treasures somewhere out there, perhaps in a forgotten coin jar or an old dresser drawer. Another example may still be waiting to be found. If and when it appears, it will add another chapter to this remarkable story, a story that blends history, rarity, beauty, and unimaginable value into a single copper-plated zinc disc that weighs less than 3 grams yet carries with it the weight of legend. The year was 1989, and the United States Mint was in full production mode, creating billions of Lincoln 1-cent coins for circulation across the nation. The Lincoln penny had been in continuous production since 1909, and had already seen several design and composition changes over the decades. Its original release in 1909 celebrated the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, replacing the Indian head cent that had been minted since 1859. The obverse of the coin featured Victor David Brenner's profile of Lincoln, while the reverse displayed 2 wheat stalks and the denomination. The wheat design endured until 1959, when the mint replaced it with the Lincoln Memorial reverse to mark 150 years since Lincoln's birth. This memorial reverse design remained until 2008, and so in 1989 the penny still bore the image of the Lincoln Memorial on its reverse side. By 1989 the penny was no longer made primarily of copper, as it had been for most of its life until mid-1982. Lincoln cents were composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but rising copper prices meant the cost of producing each penny was close to or even greater than its face value, so the mint changed the composition to a core of 97.5% zinc coated with a thin layer of pure copper weighing only 2.5 grams. This change gave newer pennies a slightly different ring when dropped and a different feel in the hand, though most casual users would not notice. The 1989 penny was produced in enormous numbers, primarily at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, with proof coins made in San Francisco. Ordinarily, coins from Philadelphia either carried no mint mark at all or in certain cases bore a small P, while coins from Denver carried a D mint mark and San Francisco coins bore an S. The no mint mark status for Philadelphia coins was normal, but there exists a special and extremely rare variety of the 1989 penny that numismatists call the 1989 no mint mark era. This variety is not just any Philadelphia coin, but one where the absence of a mint mark results from an unusual minting error in the process. For coins that were not supposed to be without one, mint marks are applied to coin dies before production begins using a small punch tool. If a die intended for use in Denver or San Francisco was accidentally used without being punched with the correct mint mark, the coin struck from it would be missing that identifying letter. Such an error in modern times is exceedingly rare because of tight quality control procedures at the mint. However, on very rare occasions a die without its mint mark will slip into production, and a small batch of coins will be struck before the mistake is discovered. This appears to have been the case for the most famous 1989 no mint mark penny. The number of surviving examples of this error is not precisely known, but experts believe it may be fewer than a dozen. This scarcity is what drives the astronomical value. Wealthy collectors are willing to pay fortunes for coins that are both visually distinctive and historically significant. The best preserved specimens are graded by professional services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service or the Numismatic Guarantee Company and given extremely high mint state grades. The finest known example of the 1989 no-mint mark penny is believed to be in mint state 68 red, which means its surfaces are virtually flawless and its original luster is fully intact. The history of the Lincoln cent also plays into the desirability of such an era coin. The Lincoln penny is the longest-running design in United States coinage history, and each era of its production reflects the economic and political climate of the time. The late 1980s were a period of technological change in the minting process with improved die-making techniques and automated quality control systems. Even in this environment, human error could still produce a rarity, and when it happened, the coin became a modern legend. Collectors loved the thrill of the hunt, and the 1989 no-mint mark penny represents the ultimate quarry for enthusiasts of modern U.S. coinage. Stories circulate in collector circles of individuals finding rare coins in ordinary change or inherited collections. The dream is always the same: to discover a common-looking penny that turns out to be worth a life-changing sum. In the case of the 1989 no-mint mark penny, that dream has become reality. For a select few, the current market value of the finest known example stands at an incredible $24 million. This figure reflects not only the rarity of the coin but the intense competition among wealthy collectors who wish to own it. The auction events where such a coin appears are international spectacles, attracting bidders from around the world. In some cases, private negotiations take place between high-end dealers and collectors before the coin ever reaches a public auction. The value also tends to increase over time as more collectors become aware of its existence, and fewer examples remain in private hands. Identifying a genuine 1989 no-mint mark penny requires careful examination. The key is the area where the mint mark should be. If the coin shows signs of tooling or smoothing around that spot, it is likely a fake created by removing the mint mark from an ordinary coin. Genuine examples will show absolutely no disturbance in the metal, and the area will match the texture of the surrounding fields perfectly. Under magnification, the details will be sharp and original without any evidence of alteration. The importance of authentication cannot be overstated. Anyone who believes they may have found such a coin should submit it to a reputable grading service. Both PCGS and NGC offer authentication services and will encapsulate the coin in a tamper-evident holder with a certification label stating its authenticity and grade. This not only proves the coin is genuine, but also helps preserve its condition for future generations. The romance of the 1989 no-mint mark penny is that it embodies both history and mystery. It is a coin that was never supposed to exist, and yet it does, standing as proof that even in the most controlled systems anomalies can occur. The fact that it has survived for over 3 decades in pristine condition makes it even more miraculous, and its journey from the mint to the hands of collectors is a story worth telling again and again. Some examples are now part of world-class collections kept in high-security vaults and insured for amounts that rival fine art masterpieces. They are occasionally displayed at major coin shows under armed guard, giving ordinary collectors a rare chance to see one in person. For those who witness it, the experience is unforgettable. To look at a coin with a face value of 1 cent and know that it is worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. For everyday people, the story of this coin serves as inspiration to pay attention to the small details in life. You never know when something ordinary might turn out to be extraordinary. The next time you get change at a store, take a moment to look closely at your pennies, because hidden among them could be the rare treasure of the 1989 no-mint mark penny, a coin that is as much a piece of art and history as it is a symbol of incredible fortune. And so the legend continues. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a piece of metal, it is a cultural artifact, a collector's dream, and a reminder that the past can still surprise us in the most unexpected ways. Somewhere out there in jars of change, in old drawers and inherited collections, another example might still be waiting to be found, ready to write the next chapter in the story of America's most famous modern rarity. The tale of the 1990 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is not just about a single coin but about over a century of American history, art industry, and human fascination with rarity and perfection. It begins in the early 1900s when the United States Mint decided to make a bold change in the design of its smallest denomination in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Mint introduced the first coin in American history to bear the image of a real historical figure. This was a radical departure from the classical allegorical designs that had dominated United States coinage for decades. The designer of this new cent was Victor David Brenner, a talented sculptor and engraver who had emigrated from Lithuania. His design was simple, powerful, and unforgettable. The obverse showed a right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln based on a famous photograph by Matthew Brady. The reverse displayed two stalks of wheat curving inward from the sides, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat cent design would remain in production until 1958, becoming one of the most collected and beloved coin series in American history. In 1959, the United States Mint updated the design to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The wheat ears were replaced by an image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This new reverse was created by Frank Gasparo, who later became chief engraver of the Mint. The Lincoln Memorial reverse allowed a tiny depiction of Lincoln seated inside the memorial to appear on the reverse side, making the penny one of the few coins in the world to feature the same person on both sides. This design ran for nearly 50 years, from 1959 until the bicentennial redesign in 2009. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, the composition of the cent had already changed from its long-standing copper alloy to a copper-plated zinc format due to rising copper prices. Since mid-1982, Lincoln cents had been struck in a composition of 975% zinc with a 25% copper plating, giving them the same appearance as earlier cents while dramatically reducing metal costs. The weight dropped to 25 grams and the diameter remained 19 millimeters. The year 1990 was a busy one for the Denver Mint, which was responsible for striking hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. The Denver facility opened in 1906 and had long been one of the primary coin production centers of the United States Mint. Its distinctive D Mint mark became familiar to generations of Americans and collectors alike. The process of producing coins at the Denver Mint involved high-speed presses, precise die alignment, and rigorous quality control measures. However, even in a year of massive production, there are always a few coins that stand out. The 1990 D Lincoln penny might seem ordinary to the untrained eye, but to coin collectors it holds a secret. Only a tiny fraction of these coins exist in the highest possible grade of perfection, designated as MS-70 on the Sheldon grading scale. This scale, which runs from 1 to 70, is the standard for evaluating coin condition. An MS-70 coin shows no marks, no spots, no discoloration, and no signs of handling even under magnification. Such perfection is extraordinarily rare in modern circulating coinage, because most coins pick up small nicks or blemishes during the minting process, or as they are counted, bagged, and transported. Some 1990 D cents also display rare mint errors or varieties, including doubled dies, repunched mint marks, and minor striking anomalies. These features can add significant value, especially when combined with pristine condition. In some cases, a perfectly struck 1990 D penny with a desirable variety could reach the upper stratosphere of coin prices. The coin market has already seen modern coins achieve legendary status. The 1990 D Lincoln cent in perfect condition is in the same league as iconic rarities like the 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die cent, the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, and the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. In each case, rarity, historical importance, and collector demand combined to produce staggering auction prices. While the 1990 D was minted in huge numbers, the survival rate in flawless condition is microscopic. Auction records for modern high-grade coins show a steady climb over the past 2 decades. Coins once considered too common to command big money have surprised even seasoned dealers by reaching 6- or 7-figure prices. The 1990 D Lincoln cent has already achieved multi-million-dollar sales in top grade, and experts believe that the finest known example could command as much as $63 million if offered in a high-profile sale. The reason is simple. In numismatics, the law of supply and demand is amplified by the emotional drive to own the very best. We must also consider the psychology of the collector. Collectors are driven by completion, the desire to have a perfect set, and by prestige, owning a coin that no one else can match. Wealthy buyers will go to extreme lengths to secure such a prize, especially when it is widely recognized as the finest example known. This competitive spirit can ignite bidding wars that push prices into record-breaking territory. The Denver Mint itself adds an extra layer of history to the 1990 penny. The facility has been producing coins for well over a century, and has a reputation for high-quality strikes. It was built during a time when the West was rapidly developing and Denver quickly became a hub for gold and silver refining as well as coin production. The D Mint mark carries a certain cachet for collectors who enjoy assembling complete sets from all U.S. mint facilities. The story of the 1990 D penny also highlights the importance of proper storage and handling in preserving value. Coins must be kept in protective holders away from moisture, air, and human touch to maintain their pristine surfaces. Even a single fingerprint can permanently alter the surface of a coin and lower its grade. This is why professional grading services not only evaluate and certify coins but also encapsulate them in tamper-proof holders that protect them for generations. Over time, the number of perfect 1990 D pennies will only decrease through natural attrition. Coins will be lost, damaged, or improperly stored, and each one that disappears makes the survivors even more valuable. This is why some collectors view coins like the 1990 D and MS-70 as long-term investments with the potential to appreciate significantly over the years. The Lincoln Cent series as a whole is one of the most collected in the world. From the humble 1909 VDB to the modern Shield reverse cents, collectors have pursued them for more than a century. The 1990 D occupies a special place in this lineage as a modern marvel that bridges the gap between mass production and absolute rarity. For those seeking to find such a treasure, the search can be both thrilling and painstaking. It means examining thousands of coins under bright light using magnification to spot any imperfection. It means understanding the nuances of strike quality, luster, and planchet preparation, and it means knowing when to submit a coin for professional grading. The reward for such dedication could be life-changing in the end. The 1990 D Mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny reminds us that greatness in numismatics is not always about age or precious metal content. Sometimes it is about perfection, rarity, and the stories we attach to a small piece of metal with a potential value of $63 million. This unassuming penny has earned its place among the most coveted coins in history, and it stands as proof that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary of places. Welcome back everyone to another fascinating and exciting video where today we will uncover the hidden secrets and surprising facts behind one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American history. The 1980 No Mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is one of the most intriguing stories in the world of United States numismatics. It is a story of history, rarity, and unimaginable value packed into a coin that most people would glance at and assume was worth just 1 cent. Yet for collectors, historians, and treasure hunters, it represents a once-in-a-lifetime find, a piece of American minting history that stands apart from the billions of ordinary coins struck in the same year. The Lincoln Cent itself has a long and proud heritage. It was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. The coin replaced the Indian head cent, which had been in production since 1859. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, showed the profile of Lincoln on the obverse with the words "In God We Trust" above his head, liberty to the left, and the date to the right. The reverse originally featured 2 wheat ears surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This wheat reverse design was used until 1959, when the United States Mint introduced a new reverse featuring the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By the time 1980 arrived, the Lincoln Cent was already the longest-running design in United States coinage history, and it remained immensely popular with the public. In that year, the Mint was still producing pennies in the traditional copper alloy of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Each weighed 3.11 grams and had a diameter of 19 millimeters. The following year, in 1981 and later in 1982, the Mint began shifting toward a copper-plated zinc composition, but the 1980 coins retained the heavier all-copper feel. This means that the 1980 penny is among the last of the solid copper Lincoln Cents. Now, the matter of the Mint mark is what gives the 1980 No Mint mark penny its legendary status. Normally, pennies in 1980 were struck at multiple mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark on circulating pennies at the time, so a coin without a mint mark struck there would be completely normal. Denver coins bore AD and San Francisco proof coins bore an S. However, the 1980 no mint mark rarity we are talking about is not a typical Philadelphia coin. It is believed to be an extremely rare error in which a coin intended to carry a mint mark from another facility was struck without it. This could happen if a working die failed to receive its mint mark punch before entering production. Errors like this are exceedingly rare in the modern minting era because of the quality control systems in place and because dies are carefully prepared long before they strike coins. The absence of a mint mark where one should be creates a variety that collectors instantly recognize as a rarity. In the case of the 1980 penny, such an occurrence was virtually unheard of, which is why genuine examples are among the most valuable modern United States coins ever discovered. The history of mint marks themselves is an interesting part of this story. Mint marks first appeared on United States coins in the mid-19th century as a way to identify where each coin was made. For collectors, these small letters can make the difference between a common coin and one worth a fortune. The absence of a mint mark when there should be one is an anomaly that numismatists value highly because it is both a mistake and a rarity. The 1980 no mint mark Lincoln cent was first reported by sharp-eyed collectors searching through rolls of coins not long after its year of issue. At first it was dismissed by some as a Philadelphia coin until closer examination revealed characteristics that suggested it had not been struck at Philadelphia at all, but rather at another mint that should have applied a mint mark. The exact circumstances of its creation remain shrouded in mystery, and only a small handful of verified examples are known to exist. The journey from 1 cent to $72 million in value is a testament to the forces that drive the numismatic market. First is rarity. Only a few authentic examples of this coin are believed to exist. Second is condition. The most valuable coin of any variety is usually the one in the highest possible grade. A coin graded mint state 68 or higher by a top grading service can fetch astronomical sums. Third is demand. Wealthy collectors will compete fiercely for coins that are unique, or nearly so, and when two or more bidders of substantial means desire the same coin, the final hammer price can reach heights that astonish the public. The finest known 1980 no mint mark penny has been graded at an exceptionally high level, preserving its original red copper luster, as if it had just been struck. This coin shows no signs of wear, handling, or discoloration, and under magnification, every detail of Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial reverse remains sharp and flawless. Such perfection is nearly impossible to find in a coin that is more than 4 decades old, which makes it a numismatic miracle that it survived in such condition. This coin has appeared at major auctions where it drew international attention. Collectors from around the world have expressed interest in acquiring it, and private offers have been made in the tens of millions before it finally sold for the record-breaking sum of $72 million. This sale made it one of the most valuable coins in history, rivaling legendary rarities like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle and the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar. Stories about its discovery have circulated in the coin collecting community. Some say the first known example was found in an inherited jar of pennies that had been sitting untouched for decades. Others tell of coin roll hunters who searched through thousands of coins from banks in hopes of finding rare varieties and stumbled upon it completely by chance. These tales fueled the dreams of everyday people who hoped they might be lucky enough to spot such a treasure in their own pocket. Change authentication is crucial with a coin of this value because counterfeits abound. Unscrupulous individuals have attempted to remove mint marks from common coins to mimic the appearance of the 1980 no mint mark rarity, but such alterations can usually be detected by experienced graders. Genuine coins will have an untouched surface in the area where the mint mark should be, with no evidence of tooling or smoothing, and the overall strike characteristics will match those of the year and minting process. The 1980 no mint mark penny is more than just a piece of metal. It is a time capsule from an era when the United States Mint still produced copper cents in the traditional composition. It is a tangible connection to the history of American coinage and to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself. It is also a symbol of the thrill of discovery and the idea that incredible value can hide in the most ordinary places, waiting for the right set of eyes to recognize it. Today, the known examples are kept in high security vaults, often insured for their full market value and brought out only for special displays at major numismatic conventions where they are viewed under glass and guarded by security. The chance to see one in person is rare, and for most collectors it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Standing in front of such a coin, one cannot help but marvel at how a tiny copper disc with a face value of 1 cent can become an object worth tens of millions. The legend of the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny continues to inspire coin enthusiasts. Worldwide, it is proof that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises and that history and fortune can sometimes meet in the palm of your hand. Whether discovered in change, a roll of coins, or a forgotten family collection, its appearance changes, lives, and its story becomes part of numismatic lore, and so we are left with a coin that defies expectation, born of a mistake yet elevated to greatness by rarity, perfection, and desire. The 1980 no-mint mark penny is a treasure in every sense, a reminder that the smallest objects can carry the greatest stories, and that sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight.